Oh, well, hello, or should I say good evening, ladies and gentlemen. If you're here right now, then I would like to thank you for coming in so early, but we are here for Division 4, Season 4, Round 11 in China. This could be a championship deciding race. As you'll see in a moment, we do not have a lot of drivers, unfortunately. Some could not make it, as well as reserves being half asleep. Not really sure why. But yeah, as you can only see, 13 drivers. But I will explain the situation regarding the championship in just a moment here. As I just quickly look at something. Okay, I will explain it right now. Bullet, with 6 wins this season, is at the top of the championship standings on 182 points, with 4 rounds left, including today's China race. In second place in the championship is Spuda Elephant, with no wins this race, but has had 5 podiums in the last 10 rounds. So as we switch to Bullet here, we can see it is raining. But yeah, as I said, Bullet is on 182 points with Spuda on 108. That's a 74-point difference. That means Bullet has to outscore Spuda Elephant by 5 points today in order to win the championship here and now at the Chinese Grand Prix. As we see him out now, let's put everything on now. See, Bullet is the first one out, so it's quite nice, because he'll be able to set a bank and then everybody will have to aim for it. Well, it's unsurprising that Bullet is the fastest out of all the Division 4 drivers here. He's really shown his strong pace and commitment. And if I'm going to be honest, it definitely looks like he's going to win here again, and obviously win and gap Spuda by 5 points. Because obviously 25 points for a race win with 18 points for second place. So even if Spuda does come second, he loses out on the championship. But we see Haiten coming down the back straight now. Normally DRS will activate right here, but because it's wet, I doubt DRS will be activated. We see both Ferraris out on the soft tires. We'll put the tire away so we have more room to work with here. But we'll check back on them in a bit, because I really want to see the type of conditions if the softs are going to work at all. But it looks like the ground is too wet and it's still raining. So I think inters are obviously the prime tire to use right now. But as we see, Haiten coming to start his flying lap here. One second, folks. I'm just looking at something. Sorry to disrupt Haiten, probably his beautiful lap. Also in the stream, please let me know if you can hear me. I would love to know that everybody can hear me. But anyway, breaking at the 100-meter board, finishing sector 1. He set a purple, but it got I think got removed straight away. Maybe by his teammate Lars behind him, who was also on a lap, but coming through sector 2 now, long sweeping left hand and then another sweeping right. Very easy to lose the car here in the dry, because you're going so fast. If you don't have enough rear downforce, you're going to end up losing the rear, and if you have too much front downforce, you're going to just have massive oversteer, and that's not what you want. And coming to the end of sector 2, nice and tidy, not invalidated just yet, sets a purple sector 2 as well, that's going to be obvious, because he's the first man out on track. And it looks like Lars is going quicker than him. That could be just due to track evolution, with obviously the first guys out on track are going to have a disadvantage because the track will improve for the people behind them. So it looks like Lars is going to get the better run, or the better first run, I should say. When Haiten does finish his lap, I will check the stream to make sure that people can hear me, because I don't want to just be talking to myself. Coming through the last hairpin now. Very easy to lose the rear here. As you can see, he's jiggling the steering wheel, trying not to get oversteering, trying to reduce the amount of wheel spin. Can cut this last corner and ride the curb of the exit. The OC usually be activated there, but it's not. It's like it's getting dry. It's a 144.1. Let's see what Lars does here. Lars, I'm sure he would improve. He doesn't. I think he's invalidated. I think I just missed him, or at least missed the invalidation on his track map. It looks like he's going to go again right now. But as Chaldinho goes first fastest, or in provisional pole position. Let's look at Sling Keyboard here. He is coming to end his lap, but it looks like see, it still looks like the Inters are faster at this point. As Spood Elephant goes right behind Heitenbolle by nearly 600th of a second. As Kingsman is out, he's retired. I think he's just retired in the pits. I'm not sure why. As Sling Keyboard goes to 43.4, which is obviously faster than Inter. So the softs are the faster tire, and that's going to help Sling Keyboard because he has a valid soft lap on the board. As we see Nagy now, he's the other Ferrari on the same set of soft tires, the same ones that Sling Keyboard was on. Let's see what he can do. Can he displace Sling Keyboard at the top of the leaderboard at the moment? Come on the final corner, a bit of wheel spin, but he's fine. Got the power down, and he goes pole position, or provisional pole position, by 0.3 of a second. So it looks like the softs are definitely the better tire. Even though it's still raining a bit, the track is definitely improving because the rain is not that heavy. Kind of a crossover point in qualifying. Lars now coming to end his final lap. I wonder if he's going to go dive into the pits. If I was him and I saw soft runners, well, he's a validator anyway, but if I was him and saw soft runners improving, I would just go diving into the pits. Ben goes faster than Heiten by almost about a tenth, or just over a tenth. Is that H. Taylor coming around? There was H. Taylor, but looks he's coming to start another lap. I think people are struggling to see that both Ferraris are on the soft tire. They're looking at their laps and they're wondering how the hell has three people actually. So Chaldinho, the 43 on the Inters. Nobody else managing that so far. Ben, sorry, 4 people actually in the 43s. I am blind. There's Bratty coming down. He's 2 seconds down. Wouldn't be surprised if he goes to the pits. But no, people don't. These drivers are not looking at the race director. They're just doing laps after laps, and I don't blame them because the times are not too different here. But you can see in the bottom right, people going to the pits. Who's that? Is that Chris? That is Chris. He's gonna come across the line. Let's see. He's gonna be a 43. It is gonna be a 43. It's a 43.8, which puts him provisionally P4 with the fastest last sector. Sorry. Nagy is improved by 5 tenths, but he lost a lot of time. I saw he lost like 3 tenths. He's all doing the left side of the track. It looks like a lot of oversteer. So with a 42.9, still a lot more time to gain. But the track is not fully dry at the moment. But it looks like the soft compound tires are working in these conditions at the moment. They're able to get the temperature in them and heat them up to what they need them to be. Wonder if that is Heiten, but no, he's in the pits. He's seen it's a soft tire. He's got the soft tires on. He is going out now. You can see the Red Bull mechanic right there. That's Heiten coming out right now. Let's see, there's the Alpine. Looks like he's going to dive into the pits. No, I think that is Ben. Still going to continue, but continuing again. The rain doesn't look like it's changing. But like I said, with the Inters to set, I guess to set some really good times, you want to do those runs consecutively because with track improvement and with just the feeling of the track in a way, you want to get that muscle memory down of what you need to do. But they're getting very, very tired. We're expecting to go wider in the rain because it's hard to get the traction down there. That is a very mechanical grip section. Do you have AlphaTauri on the track? That is, he's on this outlap. Okay. You have Bratty. What's he going to do here? He doesn't cut the last corner. You can do it very nicely actually, but he doesn't do it there. He stays P8, only improving by nearly 2.5 tenths. I think, is that Chris? That is Chris, but he's going to the pits. I wonder if people started to notice now, that the soft tires are the better tire here because, oh, it looks like Nagy just ran out of fuel. Fair enough. But, you know what, since we missed Heitenbolle's first lap because I was looking at at my stream settings. God, this is a terrible camera angle. We'll stay facing forward, I guess, until he reaches the optimum point where we can actually see an off-board shot of his car. Coming over the hairpin. See, he still can't get the power down as early, so I would obviously expect there to be some wingers with the soft tire, but Look how committed that looked through the last corner to start his lap now. Moves all the way to the left-hand side of the track to make sure to open up the corner as much as possible going on the curb. With DRS, you have to maybe lift a little early because you won't have enough rear downforce, so you have to close the DRS before you get to the corner, just before at least. That's what I do anyway. But through the mechanical grip section now, it's going to be extremely tough for Haitham being on a wheel and in the rain. Breaking out the 100-meter board again. See, we see purple first sector. He is absolutely flying compared to Nagy, so we know the track is improving quite substantially. Coming through the sweeping left and sweeping right. You can see the twitching of the steering wheel. Very unconfident here in these conditions, and I would expect that. I wouldn't expect anybody to be confident in these conditions here. Not through this corner, very tricky on traction as well. Very easy to lose the car. Very twitchy. That's a little bit of oversteer, but he's corrected it nicely. Another purple sector as expected. Currently Chris on an out lap on the mediums. We'll check back with him when he starts his flying lap. But we now have Haitham coming onto the back straight here. I wonder if DRS has been enabled. Don't think it's been enabled, if I'm going to be completely honest. It hasn't been enabled. He doesn't have DRS. Let's hope that Haas in front of him gets out of his way. Breaking at the 100-meter board. Making sure not to lose too much entry speed. Looked like there was a bit of sliding in the entry there, but he's managed to keep it under control. Clips the yellow sausage, and he comes across the line. It's a 41.7. A second and 2/10 faster than Nagy's previous soft run. So we know that track conditions are definitely improving here. There's still about 11 seconds to gain if it was a dry track. If it was a dry track, I'd expect Haitham to be putting in 130s easily. But obviously with the wet track and the rain, it's not going to be as easy. Or it will be impossible. But I think that's not Chris. That is it's another Williams. That's Spuda. He's on the inters. This is not the right call. I don't think he's looked at what the pole times are about who's setting what on what tire, because like I said before, Haitham needs to outscore Spuda by 5 points in order to win the championship. And with Spuda on the inters, when it's clearly soft, or at least it's the softs work better in these conditions at the moment, he's going to be at a major disadvantage because he's going to have to make up so many positions. And we know from previous races that Haitham does not make any mistakes whatsoever. He's clinical, he pulls away, he does what he needs to. But look at that, Spuda struggling on traction here. And we saw Haitham was significantly more confident than Spuda is through this section. It just looks like the inters are just, they're just not biting into the surface, not giving Spuda or anybody the rotation that they need. Look at that, and he loses the car, snap of oversteer, but he corrects it nicely, braking after the 100-meter board. And clipping the apex. You don't want to go over the apex, you lose too much time there. Same here. So McLaren behind him is Bratty, who's on the outlap on softs. I wonder if Spuda's going to look back and see Bratty on softs and realize, I should box this lap and go for softs. But he's on the lap, he's not going to look. He's not going to look at the race director or anything like that. He's going to be completely focused on his lap here. Coming through now to the hairpin. The second last corner of his lap now. Looks very tidy, but then it just keeps looking so slow, and he's lost the car due to wheel spin and an oversteer, and that's ruined his lap, and I expect him to go into the pits. He might actually see now that the tire delta on the softs is better. This is Chris. I think he was on the lap, but he's been there somewhere. Who's behind him? That is Lars. Lars is also on the inters. He's invalidated as well. So currently, it's Haitham, Nagy, and Slinky, with Chaldino, Chris, Bendy, Energy, and Bratty, who've just basically figured out that the softs are better, as we see Slinky board doing a Hamilton in 2007. Luckily there's no gravel there, so luckily you don't get beached in this game, and there's no gravel there, so it won't affect them at all. Snagging now is going 2 tenths faster than his previous best lap here. We'll stay on board with him while I take a drink of, or take a sip of water. And I'm back, and he's still only improving by 3 tenths, but that is the fastest second sector that we've had so far. But 3 tenths, I think, yeah, okay. I got very confused. I thought Nagy had a 143 before, and he did, but he just improved in his time, so I was wondering. But 3 tenths really, it just put him about 2 tenths shy of provisional pole position. I think there's Bratty coming in. We'll go to him now. Don't know how much he's improving by, but let's see what he can do. Where can he put himself? He puts himself provisional pole position, about 600s faster than Gaiten, but with track conditions improving, that's inevitable. Gaiten will have to set another lap here. He's still in the pit lane. He's waiting for that final run. Let's see Nagy now going to come across the line here. He's about 200 shy, nearly 300 shy of Gaiten, but it's a provisional P2 time. Not going to make anything happen there. He stays a third fastest here. Looks like track conditions are very, very difficult to manage at this point. With Bendy, look, he's invalidated. He's not on a lap so far, and he's going into the pits. And if my timing is correct, and we see there in the top left that with only 1 minute 50 remaining, he might not be able to set another lap. Let's look at who's on the lap. It looks like Sling Keyboard. Now Ben D's retired. Sling Keyboard. I don't see anybody who's on a lap so far. Chardino on a lap. He is not on a lap. He's invalid. Nobody else on a lap so far. Everybody on the out laps apart from Nagy, but looks like Nagy just missed that apex or something, and he's not going to improve, or at least that's what I think. He's just saying this is the short shifting. He's not going to try. But Sling Keyboard out on the inters. On the inters, he was out on the softs. That's how he set a 43.4. But are the tires the same? Because I would feel like over the course of the lap, the inters would overheat significantly faster and to a significantly higher temperature delta compared to the softs, because the softs are designed for excessive load and at high speed, compared to the inters are just designed to keep the car on the road in the wet. See if he's improving. He's only down a 10th, but he has to gain about 2 seconds to actually get provisional pole position here, and less to put his car up further on the grid. As you see now, Chris is also on that lap, I believe. Yeah, but you see Bratty, Gaiten didn't come out for another run. He's happy with a 41.8. I think he knows what he needs to do today is outscore Spuda. So he's looking to just lock that in. He's not willing to take any risks. Spuda's retired in 8th position on the 44.0. So compared to Gaiten Bullet and Spuda, that's 6 positions that Spuda needs to gain and pass Gaiten Bullet so that he doesn't gain points on them. But we did just catch a glimpse of Chris improving by 4 tenths of a second. That would put him ahead of Sling Keyboard here. If he can keep the rest of this lap together, it looks like him, H. Taylor, and Lars are the only people on the lap. So we'll switch to Lars after Chris. Horrible camera angle again. I'm coming through the hairpin now, breaking a 100-meter board. Again, making sure not to lose too much minimum speed. He can go a bit wider. Looks like he's a bit cautious there. Scared of losing the car and getting oversteer. Can be more committed, but those inters are not going to allow him to do that. And he goes P4 with a 43.4. Wow, 700 faster than Sling Keyboard. As we see Lars, he's going to come around now. If I'm not mistaken, that is Yeah, that is H. Taylor right behind him. So Lars and then H. Taylor. We don't know how much Lars is improving or H. Taylor, but we'll stay with Lars and then we'll see what H. Taylor can do right behind him. Lars in 13th. Can he move any higher? He does. He goes to 6th place. Where does H. Taylor go? I did not catch that. Or I did not see it. I caught a glimpse of maybe him moving up, but we'll have to look again. And we do see now that H. Taylor moved up to 4th position with a 42.8. Still over a second down on Bratty's pole position time. Great job by... Apologies. Great job by Bratty there for putting it ahead of Heighton. We know that Heighton is the benchmark that these guys aim for. But you know what? You race faster drivers, you improve as a driver. So the way I would see as a win. But here's our grid for the race. 50% race around China with Bratty in pole position and Heighton in 2nd place. Crucially, I think about maybe 7 positions now ahead of Spuda, who he has to only outscore by 5 points. I'm not going to say anything because of a commentator's curse, but... Okay, a Slinky would in 3rd as well. And I've just realized that the Inter runners are going to have free tyre choice now. So those who decided to run on the Inter tyres could either start on the mediums or the hards. Whereas the top 4, I believe, anybody past that as well. Let's look at the race director, what people are starting on. Yep, the top 4 and Sling Keyboard have to start on the soft compound of tyres. Everybody else is free tyre choice. I don't know what... License is doing, starting on the soft. I would 100% start on the hards, I would say, and go long and come back on the softs, because softs are so much faster than maybe old mediums or old hards. They're probably about 2-3 seconds a lap faster compared to them, but they do drop off significantly quicker, which is why I'd say they should start on the hards, because then they could make it further into the race and therefore have fresher softs at the end of the race. We'll see as we wait for Bratty to ready up. I don't know what's happening here. I think Bratty might have a connection issue. I think before the session did start, he wanted to restart his internet. So we'll see. It does have he will have a setup selected because of Park Ferme, and if he did select his tires, then could just be a bug. Oh, there we go. Bratty's left. So I think I'll send him another invite so that he gets back here as quickly as possible. Let's go to invite friends. Here we go. So because Bratty's car is just going theoretically, I mean, if Heighton wants to become the leader, I don't think there'll be a problem with that, because Bratty's ghost car is just going quite fast, I would say. And again, some big gaps being left. That's not what you want to see. It's 10 car width or car length, guys. Don't want to leave big gaps here. So looks like Bratty, don't know if he will be joining back. They send another invite, but if he does join back, it will be him leading from Heighten on the grid, then Nagy, Taylor, Chris, Slinky Board, Lars, Chaldinho, Bendy Energy, Spuda in 10th. So 8 positions, that's his 7th. He's 8 positions down. He's only getting 1 point here, whereas right now, in net points, Heighten is gaining 17. So he will become the default champion with basically 3 rounds to go after this one. But we'll look at the tires now. Telemetry, we won't have the telemetry on, just for pure mystery, if you will. We don't know what ERS the drivers are on, so that. Again, the man in P11 starting on softs. I do think that is wrong, but we'll spectate with on board of Heighten here, since he most likely overtake Bratty because his car is ghosted. I think he has rejoined yet, but it's 4-5 lights. And the way we go from round 11 of Division 4, Heighten gets a very good start compared to Nagy behind him. He's already pass and he's clear of Nagy, sending it down his inside here. Looks like H. Taylor's got a beautiful switchback on Nagy. He's claimed that second position for himself here. He's not going to try anything on Heighten. I think Heighten is clear. And Slinky Boards moved himself up to 4th position. I think passing Chris. Chaldinho also passing Chris on the medium tyres. Obviously the mediums and softs are going to work better than the hards at this point in the race, but we just need to see Chaldinho stick with Sling Keyboard here and Chris sticking with them so that none of the old strat runners lose out on any time at all. As it looks like Bendy and he's going to go for a move. There's contact being made between Spooner and Bendy. That's not what Spooner needs. He needs to stay alive in this race because he needs to gain as many positions as possible to limit the damage if Heighten finishes ahead of him, or he needs to try and finish ahead of Heighten anyway. You just can't let Heighten outscoring by 5 points, which is first to second or anywhere down basically. Spooner needs to finish in front of Heighten Bullet here. As Heighten is getting the perfect getaway, he's already a second clear of Taylor now. As there's some swapping in the back, but I think that's just Bratty's ghost car. So Bratty now 6/10 back. It looks like he will be joining us again. But Heighten losing about a 10th to Taylor. Looks like they're all pushing here. If I was them, I'd want to create as big of a gap as possible to their alternate alt strat runners, because it's crucial that they get away, the soft runners get away, so that they can extend and use the advantage of the softs without dragging the alt strat runners with them, because it'll just hurt them at the end of the race. But Heighten, he doesn't really necessarily need the win here. He needs to finish ahead of Spudop in by 5 points. But again, looking very good to do so. Spuda has only made that 1 position so far, and he's got a soft runner right behind him. He's currently making no moves here. You can see the effect that he has with high fuel. As we have a spinner, I think that is Lars. Lars has spun on the hards. He might have touched the curb or anything. Might have had some oversteer, understeer, tried to correct. But it looks like he's down in last position, I guess. We'll see if Bratty's going to reconnect to his car. I wonder if he has. I think he has. I think he just might be lagging severely, but I think he has. Yeah, obviously you can see the bar connections there. He's having some trouble. Lars going out wide, trying to avoid a warning there. It seems like naughty. Again, our Delta's gone, but I'm sure once they cross the line and everybody, they will come back for us. But looks, I think that's Link Keyboard. He is off. He is off. And Chardinho has overtaken. Everybody's overtaken. He's literally completely lost his wing. We don't know if that was contact with another driver, but looks like he's going to have to pit. Doesn't look like it's going to be a virtual safety car or a safety car for that incident, but he is going into the pits. Definitely for a new front wing. Did it exactly like Hamilton there. But, yeah. H. Taylor crucially out of that second, out of a second window. He's gonna need to make up time in order to get that DRS because he will be under threat from Nagy and Chardinho behind. Crucially though, Chardinho, or the top four, have pulled out of the All-Strat runners DRS. Chris has pulled out of Bendy Energy's DRS at the moment, and the rest of them are in the train apart from those who have spun out or crashed. We'll see if Nagy can do anything. If Taylor does not get back into DRS here, it will be crucial, as I said, crucial for Taylor to get the DRS. But Reitenball is really loving this right now. He's in the perfect spot to take the championship here and now at China. I think that's Bendy Energy. Bendy Energy is gone. He is spun in the first corner of Sector 2. The hards, although you can go long with the hards are very tricky around here with high fuel because not a lot of grip as well as track temperatures and everything. Hard to keep your car on track with the hard tires on. But if, let's say for example, if Chris can keep pushing, keep going along, come back on the end on softs, he'll be in a very handy position here as H. Taylor. Oh, I've just missed it as well, and Nagy has gone past H. Taylor as I went back to Bendy Energy after spinning. But Nagy did get past. He could have used some ERS to try and close that gap to Reitenball. But as we see, I think that was Spuda that was the soft runner of Leisen making a move on Spuda. The soft tire, insanely superior over the hard compiler tires. Eliza now leading this train. He can pull along the All-Strat runners. If I was Spuda, I'd really just sit behind Eliza until the softs start to drop off and then overtake him. It's like 4 out of 28 here. Any moves going on? Looks like Chardini is cruising up to the back of H. Taylor. H. Taylor looks like he's struggling on the softs. The softs we know in China wear extremely quickly, or at least you lose so much grip very quickly, just because of the demand of from the tires and the high load, the high speed corners. Look at this exit that Chardino gets compared to H. Taylor. They're both, I think, gonna get DRS now. They do. Chardino goes in front of H. Taylor. He looks like he's clear going into the hairpin. Spuda now has made a move on Eliza, and that's crucial. But as I said before, I'd wait for the soft to start dropping off. But they might be starting to, considering that that Chardino overtook H. Taylor. But as we can see, I think Nagy got back into the DRS of Reitenball here. Crucially for his own race, if he wants a chance at winning this, he can't let Reiten get away. Can't let Reiten pull a gap, and we all know that that's what Reiten loves to do. He gets in his own rhythm. We see now also Chardino closing onto the back of Nagy. Maybe I think this is the time where the softs are going to start degrading a little. As I think that was maybe Lars and Jerome solving or fighting a little. Or let's ride now, or let's ride off board, I guess, with Chardino. See if he can make a move on Nagy or pressure him into using a lot of ERS here. He's right behind Nagy. Looks like he's on board. I don't know if he has overtake on. I feel like with the overspeed, he's forcing Nagy to go for him with a Reitenball that he doesn't want to do. Reitenball defends. And Reitenball is going deep here. He's going to allow Nagy a better run into the final corner here. Chardini just has to sit back and let these two guys fight it. Let's see now going to the final corner. Haitebola leaves a car's width on the exit. Very good racing as Nagy tucks back into the slipstream. This promotes Cialdini to go for the move. He's going to go for the move on Haiten. Haiten would have DRS. Haiten on the inside here. Cialdini on the outside on the medium tyres. Looks like Haiten is going to take the racing line here. Pushes Cialdini wide, which he's definitely entitled to do there as he does have the racing line. Nagy has to settle for third at the moment. As Haiten, I think Haiten's lost it. I think Haiten's lost some traction on the exit. He's crucially down to third position. Cialdini now leads, and he's obviously in the prime position on the alternate strategy here. So he's in P1 at the moment, and by the time he pits, he'll probably 100% be on new softs, or he could go do a medium hard strategy. But I think that's just he's on the old strat. He's in P1. I would, if I was him, I'd just go for the soft. But as you can see, you can look at the tread on Haiten's left front and right front tires. You can see the wear on them, and Cialdini has pulled out of Nagy's DRS range, and looks like Haiten's going to get a free run here at Nagy. He's weaving here. He's got so much DRS. Look at that. He's on 60%. Let's look at Nagy. Nagy's on way less, on 33%. Haiten now could use that DRS advantage to really close up to Cialdini, but I think that medium is just far superior. Still, I think that's Lysen pitting. So the first soft runner in, I think if Haiten and the other soft runners noticed that Lysen did start on the soft, they'd be looking at what his times are going to be. Coming out of the pits now, he's got the hard selected from lap 7. I keep accidentally muting myself, but it was a very, I thought it was a very slow pit release, as in disabling the pit limiter, it looked like. But let's get back to the front now. Cialdini nearly pulling a 2-second gap to Haitebola, with Nagy almost dropping out of a second. He has now. I'm gonna have to keep muting myself because I'm coughing. My throat is very dry when I'm drinking some water here and there. Like, he did not get DRS, but Cialdini extended the gap by 4/10 from when we last spoke about him pulling a 2-second gap now. But let's see if Haitebola decides to pit here. Is he going to brake? He's still going to continue on. He feels the softs are working not their best, but he thinks they're working fine right now. Oh, let's see. Let's ride up with Chris to see how much he's going to gain. The gap was about 2 seconds ahead. Now he's closing down to a 1.3 now, with Kingsman 1.3 behind him. So soon Haiten and Nagy are going to get swallowed by the All-Strat runners. As Bratty now pits as well. Let's see what tyres he goes on. H. Taylor's going on to the mediums. I think he did also start on the softs. He's on the mediums from lap 8. That's going to be a hell of a stretch. We'll see if he can do it. Bratty on the hards. He obviously think the mediums won't make it. But the only 2 soft runners left now, Haiten and Nagy, really struggling. It looks like Chris has gotten into that 1 second crucially. And it looks like the softs look at the apex speed from Nagy. It looks like Chris really has the advantage here on these hard compound of tires compared to the softs. As I said before, the softs degrade so much faster, and it's not worth staying out on them for very long, because you're just going to lose seconds, I would say a lap. You know, at the start of this lap, the gap was 1.3, now it's 6/10. Let's take away dirty air and other factors or mistakes, all of this. You know, the hards at this point are so much faster. 2.3 second gap now to Haitebola. Chris not going to go for a send. Does have the fresher tires. He might just try and steal DRS and go in the main shape. We see if Haiten is going into the box. We see him up there. Nagy follows him in. Chris misses his apex. So Cialdini staying out. Let's see what the gap is from Cialdini to Chris. It's 6.3 seconds. So Cialdini looking in the prime position here to take the win. He's dominating so far, selecting the mediums, pulling a gap when Gaiten and Nagi's tires are going off. But we'll see now in about maybe 5 laps or so, or 10 laps, if Cialdini's tires start dropping off compared to Chris, because the Hards can easily make it around 20 laps on this circuit. Let's take a look at Gaiten. He's come out about 3 seconds behind Taylor, who we know was around P4, but I think he's losing time. Maybe he had damage somewhere. We don't know. And we see now Gaitenbolle is it's not really gaining too much, it's fair to say that because H Taylor is on the medium competitive tires. But yeah, Gaitenbolle is 5 positions away from Spoo the Elephant here, and Spoo the Elephant needs to make it into the points, and he also needs to overtake Gaitenbolle. But I doubt this will happen, because by the time they get to the end of the race, the mediums will be won. But we see here Kingsman maybe going for a move on Chris, and he's not going to go for it. He's going to hold it out. They need to work together here. They don't want to lose too much time to the guys who've pitted. They don't want to fight because it's crucial. Cialdini is still getting away. It was 6.3 seconds at the start of the lap. It's now 6.7. He's getting 4 tenths on this lap. Kingsman is going to go for the move here on the main straight, on the start-finish straight. He's going to go down the inside. He's flashing. He's used all of his battery. He makes the move, but Chris gets a lovely switchback here. He's going to hold it in the inside. Kingsman is going to try around the outside. Chris takes the corner, takes the racing line as he's allowed to do. And he stays ahead of Kingsman. Kingsman making that crucial mistake, allowing Chris to do the switchback and get right back past him here. Now Jerome is also slowly creeping up on them with Lars behind as well. In 7.1 seconds to Cialdini here. Cialdini is really driving good race at the moment. We'll check back on him. It's pretty boring with him at the moment. No offense to Cialdini, but I assume he'd say the same, him alone up there. There's not really much action, so we're taking a look at the P2 man, Chris, and behind him, Kingsman, really pushing now. He wants to make this move. Jerome in the back will get DRS here. Let's look at Kingsman. Is he going to go for the move? It looks like he will. He starts DRS open. Is he going to try down the inside? It looks like Chris is not going to fight it too much. Kingsman is going to go down the inside. Maybe Chris is expecting him to overshoot his braking point again. It looks like Chris did get a better line, but doesn't get the better run due to the fact that he has a car ahead of him, doesn't want to hit him. Let's see if Chris now is going to go for the move. I think it would be unwise from that far back, because they would be side by side going into turn 1. He's not going to go for the move. I said again, Jerome slowly creeping up on them. They're losing time here, going side by side into every time they're trying to overtake each other. Jerome is just there, waiting to pick up the scraps. As Gaitenbolle announces the fastest lap of the race here. In 8th position. Nagy 2.2 seconds back from him. Let's take a look at the ERS levels now. So Chris on 68% and Kingsman flashing through the second sector here. Jerome also on 68%. It looks like they're cruising behind Kingsman here. Let's look at Cialdini. Cialdini is absolutely saving that ERS. He's on nearly 80%. He is cruising. He's just using the tires, and that's what you should be doing out in front. You don't want to push the ERS, because when you pit, even though you save maybe 20-30% in the pits, you're most likely gonna want to use it on the in lap or out lap. So very, very calm and controlled racing out here ahead for Cialdini here. As we see now Chris behind Kingsman. You can see that Kingsman is flashing. He knows that he's right for the taking. It's a long turn one now. Still behind Kingsman. Well, not much else is happening right now. Until I guess they get to the Aero zone, I'll just start talking about F122. Brand new Formula One game gonna come out in the end of June, beginning of July. I personally am very excited for it. We're gonna love the new regulations, setup changes, as we've all seen from various content creators getting early access. But I myself, being a Ferrari fan, I'm a fan of the new regulations just because they are winning, as well as Red Bull. So good to see brilliant championship fight happening there in real life. But now Chris 6 tenths behind with a flashing Kingsman in front of him. Jerome looks like he's not. I guess he's not using. I was gonna say he was using, but I expect Chris to really gain here with DRS and more ERS. So he's not gonna pass Kingsman just yet. But it looks like Kingsman is just holding them up. They're losing time. Cialdini is now 8 seconds. See the delta going down. I wonder if it's because Kingsman is using every bit of ERS he has, or Cialdini's or if it's Cialdini's medium is going off. Only time will tell, folks. But now Jerome and now Lars has caught up to them. He was out of the DRS, but because of their squabbling and changing of positions, Lars has managed to catch back up now. Almost losing the car there from Lars, but kept it under control nice and nicely as Geitenbol now closing up to the back of H. Taylor. I wonder if H. Taylor is struggling with something, because the 6-lap old medium should be way superior than Geitenbol's 3-lap old hards. As he's extended the gap to Nagy by another 2 seconds and 2 tenths. It looks like Geitenbol is going to make the move here on H. Taylor. DRS open, he's going to switch to the inside now. He's most likely going to move back to the racing line. Yep, there we go, breaking at the 100-meter board. He's comfortably ahead here. The man who's in the lead of the championship, making up positions. For like the only threat of Geiten right now is Cialdini on the alternate strategy here, because let's look at the gap to lead. I think that's Sling Keyboard. Has he made a mistake? No, he's just been passed by Bratty, but I want to check the, not that. My hands don't work. Gap to leader. It's 22 seconds to Cialdini. Cialdini is really putting in some great laps here. He's doing amazingly to nurse and look after his medium tires. So still yet to pit, we have Ben D, Lars, Jerome, Chris, Kingsman, and Cialdini all on 13-lap old tires respectively. Change it back to interval now. So Geiten has closed on up to the DRS of Ben the Energy on the alternate strategy. So he's made up the pit stop distance to Ben, but I think Ben had a moment, so he's still 11 seconds away from Lars. I don't know if I heard that correctly, but I thought Ben was lifting. And we do see that. Look at his fuel. It is yellow. He is underfueled a little, so he might be lifting and coasting here to save fuel. 13 laps to go. Jerome now pits for a set of brand new mediums here. So He is going for the hard to medium tire strategy, trying to undercut maybe Lars and Chris and Kingsman. Seems like a very viable strategy here. The hard to medium does work very nicely, but as I said before, I would prefer the alternate strategy and then to softs for just quali laps at the end of the race. But one lap all the tires does affect the tire wear a lot, so one lap fresher tires is going to be crucial here. We see Jerome using DRS, nearly has a full battery here to deploy on this outlap and try and undercut those ahead of him. Reitner will probably try and make a move here on Ben D to get past him and then keep extending the gap to Spoo the Elephant. It looks like Spoo the Elephant's not having a good race, still on 8 lap old mediums, and they're just going to get worse from here. The hards only get better. The hards only get better as the race carries on. So now Reitner on the back straight using that ERS. He wants this position. He wants he wants, I think theoretically he is in net P1 or net P2, but he wants this 5th position here as Kingsman. I think it's like Kingsman, he's in the pits, Kingsman's in the pits, nobody follows him. I wonder if Ben's going to follow him. Reitner has made the move, nicely done from him. Is Ben going to pit? Ben is going to pit. He had to break a little bit for Reitner, as Reitner is going to take the corner, obviously it's not going to pit. Looks like Ben is going to pit for the mediums here, the same as Jerome. Kingsman's also pitted for the mediums. Let's look at Jerome here. Where does he come out compared to Kingsman? I think he's going to come out ahead. He's at the purple last sector here. He's come out ahead of Kingsman by, I think that's more than a second now. Yeah, 1.3 seconds. Ben is pitted. Why is it showing AlphaTauri? I'm very confused. Okay. He's pitted to the medium, same as Jerome, but he's much further back now. H. Taylor, crucially out of that DRS window. He's not gonna, he needs to get back in it to stop Reitner getting away if he wants to stick with him, because it's, like I said, medium's only gonna get worse from here, hard's only gonna get better. Same with Cialdini and Chris. Look, we saw last time it was about 8 seconds the gap, or 7.9, it's now 7.7, so we know that Cialdini is driving an absolute banger of a race, but the tyres are not allowing him to push as hard as he was before. Lars now on the back of Chris. Still both very decent amount of ERS there to play with. We'll turn it off for now. Again, give us more room to work with. As Chris now pits. So Chris is actually pitting before Cialdini. So if Cialdini was going to go for the hards, he would have pitted maybe, I would say, 5 laps ago. So it looks like right now Cialdini is going to go for the softs at the end, and we do know that he wasn't pushing with his ERS. Maybe he was just letting the tyres do all the work for him. So now Reitner moves up into 3rd position here. Looks like he will be in net P1 as he comes out of the pits, but Cialdini on brand new softs compared to, let's say 3 laps, maybe 11 lap old hards. We know what tire is going to work the best there. But by the end of the race, I expect Cialdini's softs to be completely shredded. As now Jerome is right on the back of Nagy. He's caught him. He wants the P5 position. He's lagging quite a bit, I think. With DRS now onto the back straight here, Jerome on superior tires activates his DRS now. He had his overtake button on to get alongside. Nagy now pulls into the slipstream. He's not going to make the move done because Nagy's not going to try and get the move back, or get this. I can't speak English for some reason. He's not going to try and get the position back because with Jerome with DRS he won't be able to. But Nagy now under some pressure from Kingsman here with Duro Chris not far behind him. I'm sure Chris will use Nagy to propel himself into Kingsman and Jerome, but Jerome executing the undercut perfectly has put him ahead of both Kingsman and Chris. Lars still staying out, going for the softs. At the end, it looks like the pit window will open in maybe 3 or 4 laps time for the soft tires. And does look like Chris has caught up to the back of Nagy. If Nagy doesn't get into DRS here, it will be very useful for Chris because he can just use that. Let's see now. Nagy is, I think he's past the detection point. I think he is going to get DRS here. We'll look at him and see if his rear wing is going to open. DRS is going to be right here, right on board with Chris now. Is Nagy does have DRS. Chris is going to switch on the overtake button briefly, wanting to go down the inside here of Nagy. Nagy defends a little bit, but he knows his point is to fight against brand new mediums. Now Chris has the task of catching Kingsman and getting back into his DRS. Oh, excuse me, I'm just very tired. But I shouldn't be anymore in the next couple of races. As I myself can say that I've finished my school career, or the people in the UK, I've finished my secondary school career, year 13, so I'm finally free to just host, stream and commentate on the race whenever I want. But anyway, back to the race. Looks like Chris has managed to get into that second of Kingsman here, but now Jerome, Kingsman and Chris are just going to pull away from Nagy, and Nagy's going to lose even more time now. As we see the gap heighten and sport to Nagy, and they both pitted on the same time, maybe 2 seconds apart. So we see what pace Heighten has compared to Nagy on the same set of tires, on the same strategy. As Sling Keyboard now stops again for a brand new set of soft tires, maybe looking to go for the fastest lap here. As Nagy is out of DRS. And Jerome, did Jerome get DRS? He doesn't have DRS. Kingsman also, I think he does. He does have DRS here. So Jerome on the back of Taylor now. 3 lap old. As we'll scrap that conversation, Cialdino is pitting. As soon as a brand new set of soft tires, there is a set of soft tires. We'll see what he can do now. Heighten passes him now. He is so much closer to Heighten, but he's got to catch him. These laps are going to be crucial. He has to get ahead of Taylor here. He needs track position, and he's completely lost it out of the pit exit here. Cialdino has spun it out of the pit exit on brand new softs. He was looking for the race win here. He was in P2, and unfortunately, I'm sorry to say, but he's completely bottled it. Now down in 8th behind Nagy. Looks like he's not going to be too much of a threat anymore, because he would have been so close to Heighten. He would have been about 4 seconds to Heighten here. But now he's crucially, let's look at the gap to leader. He's crucially around 8 seconds away when he could have been 4. So it's not looking too good for Cialdino's chances now, as he's right on the back of Nagy. He might be able to go for a move, as I think Chris is closer. We'll look at Chris because he's further along the track. Looks like Jerome is using Taylor to just get away from Kingsman and Chris. So Taylor's really looking to, or not looking to, but he is kind of holding up Kingsman and Chris here. Being on all the tyres, of course. This Kingsman is flashing. He's unable to pass Taylor without the slipstream. And what was that in the background? I think that was a very stupid neighbor. As Kingsman down the inside, I think he's gone a bit deep. Allows Taylor to get the switchback. Same with Chris. Chris is going to get a run on Kingsman here towards the last corner. I think Kingsman did use some ERSs. Taylor dives into the pits, most likely for a set of soft compact tires. And crucially, Jerome looks like he's out of the second mark, and Kingsman and Chris banging a diffuser with front wing. And they're just racing at this point as Cialdini is closing up to the back of them, still on his fresh set of softs. He got used to his best of his ability. As I was going to say before, he needed to come out ahead of H. Taylor to use these tires in clean air. But obviously we know what happened there. They lost there. But now Jerome crucially out of the 1 second DRS gap. Or out of the 1 second mark, so that the others behind him won't get DRS. I love how many times I've said crucially out of the DRS, out of the 1 second mark, but you know what? We'll repeat the phrase as much as we want. Sling keyboard, as I suspect, it goes for the fastest lap is 33.1. Let's look at the fastest laps and see 33.1. Only 2 people into the 33s, or 3 people into the 33s at the moment. As Kingsman now is going to get passed by Chris. He's going to get passed by Cialdini. Cialdini is going to try and go for the move on Chris as well. He's going to make the move down. He doesn't break deep. Doesn't allow for Chris to go for the switchback. But Chris almost gets a better run. But the softs are superior. And Cialdini comes out ahead of this battle. But I wouldn't consider this a loss if I was Chris. Because now Cialdini can just carry Chris all the way to Jerome. He only has 2/10 to gain. And you see there, Jerome is flashing. I think that was the fastest lap from Cialdini yet, with 32.7 with the help of DRS. Let's look at the ERS now. Jerome on 20% with Cialdini on 60. It's a 40% difference here, and he's already in the 1 second mark to get DRS on the back straight. That's the next DRS zone. See if Cialdini can help himself get back up there into the... Oh, he's already in the podium, but at least get to P2 because he looked like he was on for P1 here. But it looks like now Gaiten is on to become our Division 4 champion. We won't speak too soon though. Now Jerome still on 20% ERS he's using. He doesn't want to let Cialdini close that gap. He wants to stay ahead, I think, because even he knows that if Cialdini gets in front of him, Sausage is going to pull away. Cialdini, I think he's going for it. He is going for it. He's going to go down the inside here into the second last corner. He doesn't park on the apex, but he slows down enough so that Jerome doesn't get a better run than him. And now he's 3 seconds behind Reichenbolle here. He's going to drag Jerome and try to catch Reichenbolle for the race win. Yellow flags, who is that? I think that's Sling Keyboard here. That is Sling Keyboard. We have Reichenbolle in P1. Cialdini trying to close that gap to him. Cialdini really unfortunately spun early on the softs. Otherwise he would have been, I would assume, behind Reiten or ahead of him at this point. But nevertheless, he's not giving up. He's going to go for that race win. And we love to see it. Jerome behind him. Chris Kingsman on the set of medium compound tires. Lars on new softs now. He would most likely try and catch Kingsman as well to get a good result. Jerome here, I think towards the end of the race, he might try and go for a repass on Cialdini, but right now Cialdini is too fast. I think that's that's Sling Keyboard. And I think that's a bit naughty there. I think Sling Keyboard gave Reichenbolle a DRS. I'd love to call him out for that later. It'll be very funny to see their reactions. But he didn't give him DRS, I think. Oh, I think he did something wrong there. This was blue flags, but oh well. My assumption was wrong. But now Cialdini has closed 1 second this lap already. He has 4 laps to go. He's wanting to catch Reichenbolle. He needs to catch Reichenbolle for the race win. H. Taylor gets past Bendy Energy on a brand new set of soft tires. The Sling Keyboard retires in the pits. Good man. He was a lap down, so good on him for retiring in the pits, not destroying other people's races with the safety car. But Kingsman out of the DRS of Chris, or at least it looked like it. It was exactly 1 second, but it's fine. He's back in it. Lars creeping up ever so slowly. 1.2 seconds gained since last lap. Looks like we might have a really nice showdown towards the end of this Chinese Grand Prix. Jerome out of the DRS of Cialdino, and Cialdino is 6 tenths away, 5 tenths away. Oh, okay. He just lagged. I nearly lost my head. I thought he went out wide, but he just lagged. Okay, my heart skipped a beat. Back to it now. Chris on the back of Jerome here. Gonna get DRS. Jerome is not gonna get DRS. Cialdino, 3-lap old soft tires. I guess just trying to cruise up to the back of Heitner, at 22% ERS, so Cialdino does have more, and he has a tire advantage as well to make up for it. Sorry, it just went, I'm just looking at something again. But it does not matter. Cialdino now, so it hasn't closed up as much as I would expect him to on his softs compared to Heitner's 15-lap old mediums, or I mean 15-lap old hards. But now Lars, I think he's close into DRS. He has. There's now a 5-car battle for P3, or I mean 4-car battle for P3 here. They're all in their DRS train, apart from Cialdini, who's got out the DRS of Jerome, and Heitner, who's out of the DRS of Cialdini, using all of his battery here. Same with Cialdini, he's using the overtake button. He needs to close up. This could come down to the last lap who would take the race win here. Right now, as it stands, Spoo the Elephant outside of the points had a miserable qualifying, it looked like. Outside of the points, crucially gaining no points, and Heitner is set for the full 25 points as of this moment. But all he needs to do is gain 5 points. So he can't realistically he can't finish P4. He needs to finish P7. If he finishes P7 or above, by that I mean P7, P6, P5, P4, P3, P2, or P1, he becomes the Division 4 Season 4 champion after a very brilliant and dominant season from the man, the myth, the legend. Also, if Heitner does win here in China, it will be his 5th consecutive win, which is absolutely outstanding. Cialdino is now 1/10 away from the DRS. From the DRS, he would love to just feel the air in between the flaps of the rear wing there. As we see Heitner, but a flashing. Cialdino didn't have a good middle sector there, and somebody spun, and that's Lars. Lars has spun. He's on the brand new set of soft tires. Looks like he's just pushing too hard, and now Nagy passes him. Not great for Lars. Lars is not having a good race and a good end, as Lars has just retired. But did Lars hit the? I think Lars just hit the barrier there. Has Lars hit the barrier? Has he lost a tire? He did lose a tire. I have to look back at that, but I think he was just too eager. And Lars has left the session here. We'll stay on board with Cialdino while I just quickly again look at something. I'll be back just for the action, but I'm not going anywhere. Now Chardinho is losing time to Haithambole. It looks like the softs are dropping off. You can see his tires are blistering, both fronts, and the rears are starting to fade away from him. He's not getting as much traction. You see Haithambole is pulling away. Chardinho is now 2 seconds back from Hagnable. He was 1 second to start this lap, and I think he's made a mistake because Jerome is right behind him now. Looks like on the last lap, Chardinho, he has a penalty as well. It's not looking good for him. He's going to lose a bundle of positions. They probably drop down to 5th place. Now Jerome's made him. No, okay. Jerome's lagging so hard it's sending me to a different dimension. But Jerome now on the back of Chardinho. Chardinho really struggling. He's also second already. It looks like Chris is even going to maybe get past him here as well. Let's look from on board Chris's perspective. Jerome is flashing. Chardinho is defending for all his life here. Jerome is going to get past him before the corner. He's going to go, doesn't go defensive. Chardinho going to send it. Chris is going to, oh, he hits the back of Chardinho. It sends him. He hit the back and it sent him wide, and that allowed Chris to get the position. It looks like Haiten is going to win, and he is going to become the Division 4 Season 4 champion. Brilliant stuff from Gaetan. We'll come back to him, but we have Jerome in P2, Chris P3, Kingston in P4, and as I suspected, Chardinho in P5. I don't think that will end up in the stewards room, maybe as a penance for Chris, but Chardinho was inevitably going to get P5 due to his penalty. But Nagy, Bratty, Ben, and Lyson and H. Taylor rounding out the top 10 with Spuda. Unfortunately, ending his season there. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he's just going to stay P2 in the championship. And it looks like he will. And it's been a brilliant season, or at least a brilliant championship battle from the pair of them. But Haithambole came out superior, came out on top. He was leading 74 points coming into this race, so he was looking comfortable. Jerome gets driver of the day. But if I'm going to be honest, I would give my driver of the day. I would say either to Haithambole because he won the championship, and just because he's so consistent, doesn't make any mistakes. We saw that here today. He didn't make any mistakes. Or I would give it to Chardinho. Did his best after he spun, making it up to 2nd position and nearly catching Haitham, but his tyres let him down, unfortunately, and that spin let him down. But he comes away with P5 and the fastest lap. We see Haitham, as I said before, is now the Season 4 Division 4 champion. That is his 2nd championship in a row. He won last season's Division 6 championship, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, thank you everybody for joining me this evening. A big congratulations to Haiten, Jerome, and Chris. Haiten for becoming the Division 4 champion, and Jerome and Chris for rounding out the podium. Thank you everybody for watching. See you next week.